Welcome to the show after the show. It happens right after the show with DK.
Sorry, let's do that again. Sorry, I think Derek was supposed to just
do that. What do you want? What do you want?
I thought that was good.
Okay.
We do not fit in frame well, do we?
Well,
there we go. Hey,
we're framed up for one
works.
person.
Just three guys in one frame. Woo! Boom. Okay, yeah, so today we were talking about kind of like the Disney streaming service and sort of how we're going to see Disney taking so many properties and like basically sucking them from everywhere else and putting them all underneath their title.
Right.
We've talked about this so much, I feel like it is taking us forever to write the script because we just keep talking about it.
Well, it's really interesting because like it's just the way you consume media is changing so much, and it's like all of these things that were on TV are like where do we fit now?
Right.
You know?
Like the idea of watching a single episode of a TV show is like long and forgotten. Like
Right.
who is still like tuning in for
like the things I watch live are like football and Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, like that's pretty much it.
Even Game of Thrones for me is streaming. I can only just stream it right as soon as they release it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I don't get cable, so I get like HBO now, which is still streaming.
Right, but that won't work for everything because there are so few shows right now that have the amount of pull that Game of Thrones does. Like, so
It's like a
League of its own.
unique, unique situation.
Well, I mean, I have HBO now for Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what would you be most excited about, like, kind of going into this new sector where Fox is under the umbrella? Like, what do you want rebooted the most?
X-Men.
X-Men that doesn't suck.
X-Men that doesn't suck. Like it's never really been that good. To me.
Next question. Disney is like very family friendly. Do you think that they can make X-Men gritty enough to where it could be a good superhero movie without that edge?
Yeah, I don't think X-Men in particular has to be that gritty to be good. I think like Deadpool is like where you have like this weird issue.
Yeah,
like
what's going on?
like how did they do it? Like, did they just let them sort of do their own thing?
I think they have enough proof of concept that they probably could because it's like so high grossing as a rated R, superhero movie.
Well, and with that though, I mean, even with like The Simpsons coming into the fold, you're talking about having like almost like creating a whole new demographic for Disney as like a company.
Yeah,
because
I almost imagine what they'll do is like I wonder if they keep the Fox branding a lot, like like they own ABC and ESPN, but it's not like when you turn on ABC, it's not like you're aware that Disney.
You're not actively aware they're watching.
I wonder if Fox just stays on TV as it is, and those shows continue to show on Fox. It's just that now Disney is producing it, but because it's under a different like brand, if you will, like it's okay for it to not be so family friendly.
Okay, I have such a good question for this then. Star Wars was originally distributed by Fox, and then purchased by Disney, and now they own Fox. One of the things that people were really upset about was the fact that there wasn't the Fox like pre-roll before.
Yeah, the 20th Century Fox, like.
Right.
I was not upset by that. I didn't even notice.
No, some people said it was like very much different. Like the what are the dogs? The classically conditioned dogs.
Pavlov's.
Pavlov's dogs. Yeah. Some people said that like that they associate like that noise with Star Wars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Popping in the VHS when I was a kid.
No, interesting.
It's just a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and then there's those few seconds of silence, and then you're just waiting for the big boom! That's all I need for Star Wars. If they took that away, I would be words.
Oh yeah, but they won't take that away. They're not going to change anything for like in that.
Well, Rogue One didn't have the crawl.
Well, but it's not an episode. I still wish Rogue One had many changes.
Even though Star Wars comics have like a crawl like in the beginning.
I think it's okay that they preserve it for the episodes.
That's fair.
And
I wonder if Disney, because they're talking about how they're sort of divided. It reminds me of DC Comics. DC Comics actually has just the regular DC Comics, and they also have Vertigo, which is like their adult. It's DC Comics. It's the same company, but they're all much more mature.
Oh, okay, like a higher,
Where like it's.
Well, so like one of the big things that I think comic books especially deal with, and maybe even like an era that predates ours, was people who grew up with comic book characters as kids and then later saw them as adults. So it's almost like you had to take the thing that they liked at this age and make it appropriate for them at this age.
Grow with the audience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But in a way that like the next generation could see it and it wouldn't be like it would still be appropriate for them too.
Sure. Yeah. So kind of like reformatting that, right? So I think probably on that token, I am so ridiculously excited about what Disney original programming could look like.
That is
Oh,
what, because it's like, what does Disney original programming look like when it's not on the Disney Channel? You
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah,
Like you can enter into a whole new territory. And even with subscription services, you have the advantage of it not being a television show where you have to make it age appropriate because kids are already going to be watching that show.
Right.
Like you can subdivide it into categories on the actual selection screen.
Like
so
even
that-
even Netflix has like a kids section.
Yes.
So you could have
Absolutely.
like Disney, like whatever their service is going to be called, just the kids or adults or.
That's okay. What do you think the service will be called? Do you think they will brand it as like a totally like
I think it'll have the word Disney in it.
You
Yeah,
think
I think
it
it'll be
will?
like Disney Now, Disney Prime.
Well, I don't think it'll use
Whatever.
Now or Prime.
Well,
because those
yeah,
are
like,
both
it'll
already
be
used,
a similar-
But yeah,
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
I would actually
Like
be
Disney
willing to
One.
bet that it
All
doesn't.
in one place.
I bet that
Disney
it
One.
doesn't. Yeah, one would make sense
Yeah.
if they use that word. But I would be willing to bet that they don't do. I bet they create a name
You think
that
so?
doesn't include Disney, and then you would just know that it's a Disney owned.
Maybe.
So
Time
maybe yeah,
will
we'll see.
tell.
Because their big shtick will be that everything Disney owned.
Yeah.
basically.
The other thing we didn't even mention is that like we didn't really grow up surprisingly as like Disney Channel kids.
right.
But, like I feel like all of that stuff, like all the Disney Channel original movies and like
True.
Hannah Montana and whatever, will all you would think would all be on there.
Totally.
Like
Oh,
why
yeah.
not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yes. I mean, there's
Why not
the-
let later generations discover Lizzie McGuire and all
Sure.
that stuff?
Oh man. Yeah. Smart Guy was that one?
Smart guy.
Smart Guy?
Yeah,
Did you ever watch
you're
Smart
right.
Guy?
No, what do you,
Oh my
there's
God.
a
He's
show
like-
called Smart Guy?
Oh,
Yeah, he was like
it
an
was like
8-year-old
a-
kid
he
or
was like
something.
a
He was like a
genius.
genius. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was adorable.
Yeah. Oh my
That
gosh.
is
it
one
was
show that I have
so
seen
funny.
some-
That was
some
so
portion of
funny. I forgot about that show altogether.
Okay, this is something we didn't
Did
address.
they make Boy Meets World? No.
Maybe.
I don't remember who made.
There's a question that we didn't cover in the video, but Netflix does make Marvel
Right.
series. What happens
Yeah.
to those?
I think. I mean,
Hopefully nothing.
I think that this doesn't happen until like 2019 or something. That like it would be easy enough for those shows to just completely run their course before this happened.
sure,
possible.
sure,
You
for
know,
sure.
like I don't know how many more seasons of like Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Like I can't even imagine them doing another season of Iron Fist.
Right. So I think what it
100%.
comes down to though is that I mean, there's no way in the world that those are recent enough shows in terms of production where Disney absolutely already had a plan in mind to make their own streaming service. So I guarantee they don't have long-term contracts to use those.
Yeah, they probably
characters.
just bought the rights to use the characters for, and I don't know the details of the deal, but I'm sure that they are like worth X number of seasons.
Yeah,
Sure.
Or maybe
It
Netflix
might-
just bought
might
the
have.
license to them, and yeah.
See, because that
Yeah.
was one thing we
Yeah.
didn't. We said She-Hulk, but there could still be
Oh, man.
some gray area. I know you're
I
just.
want a She-Hulk anything.
I don't know anything
Jennifer
about
Walters,
She-Hulk.
she's great.
Sure. You say so.
Well,
Yeah.
I think this will be like the longest show after the show we've had, but
Yeah.
that's okay. We had so
Sorry.
much to say. Like it was.
It's interesting. Yeah, I feel like
Right.
this is like not one of like our more theory-y videos, but it's like just very interesting for just the entertainment industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it's a really big move.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And I feel like what was happening with me was like the more I was digging into it and the more of the implications, because you were talking about just so many different like characters, properties, shows, whatever you want to call it, that there are things that like you're not a fan of, and so you don't think about that.
Yeah.
So like the Simpsons thing where like Universal has rights to have like what is the town in the Simpsons called?
Springfield.
Springfield. So they have like Springfield inside of like Universal, the park. So now literally in Orlando, you have Universal and Disney, where Disney owns the Simpsons living inside of, it's a Fox property living inside of a Universal park
Right.
that's now owned by Disney, which is right here.
Yeah.
So
it's
weird.
like
So-
it's like do they just shut down that portion of the park and be like, well, we're gonna put the Simpsons in our park now, or is it just like, well, it's established and
I think
we'll just
that's-
take some of the revenue?
Right, I think that's what it boils down to.
Yes.
Yeah, is that it's probably was beneficial. Like obviously Fox allowed them to use the likeness anyway, so it had to be beneficial to Fox to begin with. So I'm sure that Universal pays so much money to Fox that it's just going to be Universal literally funding their enemy.
That'd just be so weird. Like maybe they're not okay with that.
Well,
or,
that- maybe
or,
that-
you know, you
yeah.
almost have to think like Disney is very much like a company that wants control of its
Everything.
stuff. You know, like the people who work at the Disney parks, like they might not want their property. Like Universal is very like the feeling at Universal is very different from the feeling in Disney. Like it feels like you're just at like a regular amusement park with like known franchises at Universal. Whereas at Disney, you were like all the cast members are like 2-finger pointing and they're super happy and you don't even notice the trash ninjas and
The trash ninjas.
The trash ninjas?
yeah, that's like
Is that the term?
Well, it's like I think it's like a term of endearment, but like
okay.
you're not supposed to see them picking up trash,
Right. So the other thing is with that is that like when Disney first opened the park in California, one of his big things was he never wanted to see a character misplaced to its area. So there are tunnels everywhere so that the characters have the ability to like get to home base without walking through. So like you'll never see Mickey Mouse walking through like Star Wars land.
Right.
You know, because like then it's like, well, or a Stormtrooper in
yeah,
you know,
in,
misplaced
like
any other
the
way.
Magic Kingdom.
Exactly. So I know that one of the things that like one of the more comic articles I was reading about this was saying that they're going to have to install so many new tunnels to allow for all of these new characters because it's like going to be such a problem.
Jeez.
Right.
Huh. Well, we tried to end 3 minutes ago. We'll end it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.